when you're hiring new staff, I've identified there's 2 types. And one of the things I say to people on interview, I'll just share this with you because it's really useful. I commonly talk about 2 personality types because it's from my own experience, really. When you first start any business, really, and I'm talking about letting agencies specifically, obviously, but when you start any business, you don't have everything sorted. You're probably wearing 6 different hats, doing everything yourself, from sales, marketing, operations, finance, compliance. You wear the hat and do everything. And you hire someone usually to help you, and then you hire someone else to help you. And there comes a point where you've got 3 or 4 helpers helping you, but you haven't got defined roles, you haven't got structure, you don't have a SOPs manual, you don't have KPIs and targets and software to analyse everything, and people can disappear and do stuff and whatever. It's a bit chaotic when you first start a business. Any business, it's the same, and some people grow and escalate faster than others, but in that phase, what I experience and what I've seen many other people experience is this: you hire someone, and I'm going to use an example. I can remember we hired someone from one of the corporates, the big corporates. Of course, the big corporates, they have a form for everything. There's KPIs, there's targets, there's spreadsheets, there's rules, there's everything. And so when you hire someone from corporate and you interview them and they say, yes, well, I personally took that branch from 300 properties to 600, and I was in charge of all the listings, and I took on 300 properties a year and all that sort of stuff and whatever. And you think, oh my God, this human's amazing, it's brilliant. I can remember hiring someone just like that and bring them into my branch and go, right, just do what you do. After a couple of days, I realised he wasn't really doing a lot. And so I said to him, well, what's going wrong? Why are we not doing anything? And he said, well, he says, I've never had to generate my own leads before. The phone just rings. He said, and other people book them in for me, and I just go and do the listings. There's no appointments a day, so there's nothing for me to do. So I just sit here. And I'm like, pardon? I said, this is not like that here. We all have to get stuck in. We have to do a bit of everything. We have to do whatever the business needs. Well, no, that's not my job. My job's lister. My job is just to do the appointments booked in the diary. And this argument went on for about another week, and then we parted ways. So basically, this is my first experience of this doesn't work, because the corporates, they've taken it to such an nth degree where, and it's not a criticism of them, it's because of they're so established. Everybody is so in their lanes, they just do a tiny little part of the job, and basically everything is so wrapped around head office that they can't breathe without head office approval, and so if it's not in their lane, they just won't do it. And so I had a few more people from corporates, very, very similar scenario. And I realised that this was not the sort of person I wanted. Then I hired this lady called Anna. And she came along, and I just put her in. I said, right, if you can do the tenancy admin and stuff and whatever. And she started doing that. She was brilliant, absolute whiz. I gave her the instructions on what to do. Brilliant. Next thing I know, she was helping out with tenancy management. I said, what did you say? I'm just helping out tenancy management guys. Next thing I heard, someone said to me, oh, she's just on a valuation. She took the property on. I said, really? Yeah. And she was just all over doing everything. And I thought, my God, this woman's amazing. And when I started drilling down, she was prepared to do whatever needed to be done to get the job done. I thought, my God, this is the sort of humans I need to employ. Let's fast forward 10 years. So 10 years on, I've got SOPs for everything. There is a process sheet for absolutely everything. There's an instruction manual, there is a handbook, there is software. I don't want people to move without doing exactly what I want. If they don't follow the 56-point process and miss something out, I'm on them, all right? So we're a different business now. Everything is organised, everything is structured, everything is systemised, everything is process sheets. We've got our investors in people, we've got a manual for everything, very organised. And I hired somebody from my tenancy management department, which is the most process-driven department in the whole company, because it's legislation compliance and the software, and you got to do this, and there was like checkpoints and every single thing. You literally couldn't breathe without following the process. You missed part of the process. It was like lights were flashing and bells were going and managers were calling and all sorts of stuff. And I hired this person for the tenancy management department. Very experienced, worked in letting agency, a small letting agency, blah, 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 blah. And her job was just to do the maintenance. That was it, just the maintenance. Anyway, people started moaning. She's doing my job, she's doing this, she's doing that. And I found out she was doing the other. And then next thing she was doing inspection. She left the building and went to do an inspection. She went to inspect. And then she did this, and she hasn't followed the process. And I was like, oh my God. So anyway, pulled her in. What's going on? She goes, well, I don't agree with your way. I think I could do it better. I said, what do you mean you think you could do it better? I said, we've got a whole process here. It's been established over the last few years. It's there designed to keep everybody safe and follow the computer system, and everything's been put together to make sure it's done the proper way. Well, I don't agree with it. I think I should do it this way. I said, well, we don't do it. Another thing, you can't go out and do inspections. We have an inspections clerk there. Oh, well, they won't answer the phone, so I decided to do it myself. I was like, whoa. Hold on a second, I've got a problem here. Because what she was the same character as that person 10 years ago that I thought was amazing. But now I was more organised and systemised. Actually, she was a pain in the butt. because she was just wanted to do things her own way and would not do things my way. After repeating this exercise with numerous different staff over the years, I've probably hired hundreds and hundreds of staff over the years, I've identified there's two types. The first type, no, I only do valuations and because they're booked in my diary and that's my job, I don't do anything else. I call that corporate mentality. Corporate mentality is where they are in a lane, in a tunnel. This is what they do. And as I speak to my agents, they go, oh yeah, we've hired someone like that. If you're a small, tiny agency and you're just getting going, you need the other character type, which is the entrepreneurial type, like the Anna girl. She'll just do anything that needs to be done to get the business up and running. You have no process and systems to follow, so just do that. And off they go. And they'll do whatever you need them to. You need entrepreneurial. They're not in a lane, they're not in a channel. They'll do whatever you need them to do. Fast forward 10 years when you're organised and streamlined and systemised, they are a nightmare in most of the departments of a letting agency. You need the corporate types. Just do what I tell you to do and do not deviate. Entrepreneurial types will not work in that environment, and corporate types will not work in the free-flowing, no rules environment. So really what you're asking is, what are the two character types? You've got the entrepreneurial and you've got the corporate, and never the twain shall meet. The way my business is run now, some roles require entrepreneurial. Sales is entrepreneurial. You want people that are going to go out there and create something. If you're hiring for a new role that you don't have skill sets for, and you don't have a system for it, you need entrepreneurial, because otherwise they'll freeze like in headlights and won't move. So anything that's new, you're starting doing sales department, team department, marketing department, media department, you're going to need someone who's going to come in and actually create it for you. Entrepreneurial types. However, your client accounting department, tenancy management department, if you're established and you have all the systems process, you need corporate types. Because when you get someone coming in refusing to follow your systems, you have a nightmare on your hands. So I want you just to be aware of that and think, when you're hiring new staff, do you need entrepreneurial types? Do you need corporate types? What phase is your business in? Be honest. Do you have a system and process, a SOP for absolutely everything you do? If not, you probably need entrepreneurial. And you're going to make this up together. If you're established and absolutely systemized, go for the corporate types. Because they're the people that will follow your rules and do exactly what you say, and woe betide you if you've given them wrong information, because they'll just follow it. And bear in mind also that even as an established business, you might have emerging departments, emerging systems, processes, whatever, that you might need the entrepreneurial in again. Very, very different character types, very different hiring criteria. And one of the things I say to people on interview, I'll just share this with you because it's really useful to find out what sort of type I've got in front of me, is I say this. I say, right, I've got 2 desks behind me, one of which will just have a task on it, and it'll just say, like, run this event for me. It won't have any SOPs, process sheets, how to do it, where to do it, how to find anything, whatever. You're going to have to create it all yourself, put it all together, come up with the process, find the suppliers and do everything, and you'll be rewarded based on your ability to complete the task successfully. On the other desk, we have a whole process sheet and a SOPs manual, and you'll be told to complete the tasks in the in tray, move them into the out tray without question, and do exactly what you're told. You'll be rewarded on your ability to complete all of the tasks in exactly the same way you've been told to do it. Which of those jobs appeals to you? And depending on which one they answer will tell you whether you have an entrepreneurial type or whether you have a corporate type. And in my business, I have all of the above. I have entrepreneurial types, I have corporate types, I have both types of people in my businesses. It just depends where they sit. So there you go. If you want to know how 2 different types of employment, corporate and entrepreneurial, just make sure you hire the right one at the right time.